day right before the holidays, Christmas season. Let you know this is the last Coffee Chat Live I will be doing here in 2022. Next week, I'm going to share some of my previous thoughts of the day, some of those that have maybe got the most interest. So I'll be sharing that with you next week, but I'm going to take the week off to kind of recharge, reset, do all those things that part of growing as an impact driven leader. I'm excited to share these last couple items with you for this year, things that I've been working through, wrestling with, or that popped into my world. Today, I was reading from my daily Drucker from Peter Drucker, and this comes from as I'm reading The Landmarks of Tomorrow, written several years ago. And he makes this statement: spiritual values lead people to compassion. Now, he's not arguing for one religious direction or not, but just this idea that spiritual values, values that are derived based on spiritual patterns or practices or beliefs, lead people to compassion. Now, some of my mentors, some of the thought leaders that I follow have found this to be true, that across many different religions and beliefs, there's commonly held values that people have value, that, we're to treat people, fairly, equally, honestly, as we would want to be treated. The golden rule, to love and care about people. That's all a facet of compassion. And in a world where you're devoid of a buoy or an anchor of values, where's the compassion? It's actually said that, the main way to create angst is to dehumanize. To dehumanize is not to have compassion for another or others. Spiritual values lead to compassion. It's an interesting thought to, work on here before the holidays, where, the gift of the holiday season. Why do we share those gifts? The last piece I'm going to leave with you today, is this. My thought of the day: accountability must have common ownership. Let me dig a little bit deeper. I was recently on a podcast with a host, Benj Miller, co-owner of System and Soul, and we talked about this idea of psychological safety, building into psychological resilience. And one piece that we talked about was accountability. I see accountability needs to be in every organization, or it's just kind of chaos. It's let's make it so comfy and cozy. But the problem with that is there's no performance. See, accountability ensures performance. It's been said that a culture without accountability cannot be a productive culture. I want to add in this layer. Accountability must have common ownership. If I hold you accountable to a level and someone else holds you differently accountable, it's going to cause confusion. The ownership of accountability needs to be across multiple parties. And it's when that expectation of accountability and what's expected, what is the minimum viable and what's the maximum possible. It's in that range where there's common interest, common ownership of accountability. In a leadership perspective, in a life perspective, what I'm going through, coming to those common ownership points of accountability, man, that's when people can thrive. It's kind of like being on a highway with guardrails. If it's a wide open terrain, who knows where the road is going to go? But those guardrails, that common lane of accountability, creates fast moving traffic, creates moving forward. It's like a river. A river without banks flows slowly and just kind of sporadic. But a river with banks, man, it flows. It's a source of trade. It's a source of life. It's a source of transportation. Glad to share that with you today. Thanks for being here. As always, I appreciate just saying hi. Debbie, good morning. Engaging, sharing this with others, as I know so many of you do, and I appreciate it. I'm excited. I went through a bunch of things yesterday. I'm going to work on it next week. Some new offerings, some different positioning of the impact-driven leader. I know it's going to bring so much clarity and value to all of you that partake, and I'm excited to share that. Reminder, January 9th and 10th, I'll be hosting a free leadership workshop, Awaken the Leader Within. You can go to tylerdickerhoof.com/workshop, or just theimpactdrivenleader.com, and you can find out information about that. Excited to share that with you, and hope you have a great holiday season. And